our fourth and final breakfast for the Shanghai LAN parties. We've had ranging between, I don't know, 6, 7 people here to having 15 people at a time. Several times we've been actually online and chatting with people around the world through Ustream. We've been on Twitter, we've used Chatski, we've used a whole bunch of tools, and I don't know about you, but I feel like all of us have learned something. But let's go ahead and just try to wrap this up a little bit and talk about what our next steps are going to be and what we've gotten out of this experience. So kind of collect your thoughts in your head a little bit. I promised I wouldn't talk to Jonathan first about this time because he wanted some more think time. So Simon, let's go ahead and begin with you. You've been to all 4 of the meetings. What are you taking out of this experience with the K12 Online Conference and our conversations?
2 things. I've put on weight due to the quantity and quality of food. But secondly, I have enjoyed many of the presentations, and what I think I've got out of the presentations is that they've provided hooks for conversations and provided us with opportunities to talk about what they're doing and then taking that beyond to what we want to do with those technologies. We as a group often have used a lot of the technologies already, but what this has done is us to solidify what, as a group, how we can move forward in our own organisation to try and get more teachers using these tools and ourselves using these tools. So that would be my basis, and it also has reminded me of the tools out there that we sometimes forget, and it has also provided opportunities to looking at tools that I might not have seen before.
Miss Faye.
I think that what you said, Simon, is correct in terms of it's allowed us to. I mean, I've heard of a lot of these tools, like when you did the tech conference here this year and last year. But sometimes there's just so much going on that you just download it and you leave it on your computer and you just never look at it again. But then that's why I keep coming to the tech conferences, because each time I hear it, I go a little bit further into it. And I think it's like the brain. You can only take in just so much, and then if there's too much there, you just block out little bits and pieces. And so it's sort of like that. It's all sitting there on my computer, and I can access it at any time. And then slowly, bit by bit, I use it. So I think just in the last, this has been going for 4 weeks, is that right? Mm-hmm. So I am now using 4 more things that I wasn't using previously. You know, like I knew about Ning, but I'd never used it, so now I've started to do that. I've suddenly increased my use of tech in the classroom again, but I've also started looking at how I can explain it in terms of relevance. And I think the fact that I was doing this at the same time as understanding by design also made me think about how I want to use it and how I want to assess it, or should I assess it, or is it simply a method that we can increase depth of discussion in the classroom and that sort of thing. So I think it's actually the atmosphere that sometimes we're not necessarily, we'll listen to what's on screen, we'll go off topic, or it seems as though we've gone off topic, but we haven't really, and we're learning off each other all the time. So just in this session alone, I picked up 3 things that I actually will use, because as you become more comfortable with things, you use them more and more and more. So I think that the amount of learning that we're getting from each other here has just increased so much.
I like the relaxed way that we went about this, that there wasn't a minute-by-minute plan, that we could kind of move in and out of different videos and extend discussions. I find when I'm at work, it's just a go, go, go thing, and a lot of times I don't have time to just enjoy the learning moment. And that's what I cherished about this time together, was I had 3 hours with you guys, and I had an opportunity to learn, which I don't take the time during the day. I don't have the time. So it was fun to be the student. And then now to turn it and to reflect on it and figure, what do I need to share? Because we can't share all of this with our staff. We'll have to pick and choose. And I'm looking forward to that. And at the same time, we're also planning our February staff professional development. And I'm thinking, as we're watching it, because I went to each session, which ones would be best developed with the staff this year. So that was
One thing I really liked about this conference was it seemed really sort of like three-dimensional and dynamic. I mean, when you watch a presentation, it's very, very static. But when you get a group of people together, and what we're doing is we're all learning from one another. You know, we're looking at Faye's wiki, and we're looking at what Amanda's blogs and so on. We're learning from one another, and I think that's the real strength, is that we're just in a small group and we're learning off one another. And I think we need to do that at school, and we need to create these like small communities like this, and we need to sit down with our laptops, whether it's in our grade teams or departments, and you know, with the laptops, and we need to do what we're doing here, and find the time at school, you know, to do that. And I think that might be one way of going forward. We've tried a little bit at school in the science department to do things like that. In our departmental meetings, we'll have at least half an hour where everyone will have their laptops and we'll look at something that someone's been working on, or we'll learn a new skill. And it's been really, really great. We need to do more of it, I think, and try and make this relaxed and formal as possible.
Because obviously this is a positive learning experience, and it should continue on our divisions.
Yeah.
With all of this, it strikes me that we're still looking at a lot of education as top-down, from the direction of the teachers creating the change, whereas I think what I keep thinking about lately, especially in the nature of the discussion of constructivism, is that a lot of this learning can be bottom-up. And it's like a couple of my students came to me this week and they wanted to share with me their machinima, or what they were into with, you know, using Halo characters and creating this mashup kind of stuff. And I just feel like, again, are we pushing against? Are we trying to force change where naturally we can use some of the resources that we have? I want to ask my students what they're interested in more. I want to ask them what they would like to see in the classroom. I feel like a lot of the things that we are trying to do at the moment are based upon the pieces that teachers are going out and selecting. It's like, we know that Digo can do this and Google Docs can do that, but what do the kids think the capabilities of this are? I mean, if we're really talking about constructivism, then can't the students be part of actually creating how we implement these tools in the classroom? And that's getting back to other things, like actually allowing some of those tools into the classroom too, like the cell phones and the other things that we've been arguing and discussing. So,
but I think if you have really open-ended tasks, I think that will happen. You know, if you've got an authentic task that's centered around technology, the students will find the ways to do the things that they want to do.
Right.
They're incredibly creative.
Yeah, and according to their own learning styles and all of the things that we've talked about for the previous decade. So.
On the weekend, Alan November posed that question. He said, ask your students how they're using technology at home that are different from the ways they're using it at school. And I think that would offer some insights, kind of like what you were suggesting.
And that scares most parents. And what is happening in a lot of the cases is that the parents are saying, no, you may not use the computer when you come home. So that the only computer time the kids have is at school. So I think it's the school's responsibility, and partially my responsibility, to go and educate the parents. It's like, okay, you feel like you're losing control here. Let me help you feel like you can gain some control over this situation. You know, whether it be getting them connected on an RSS feeder so they can see what their children are writing on their blogs. Whether it be, you know, limiting their time on the computer and actually looking at the search history to see where they're going on the internet. So my goal for this week is to continue my work with some of the parents and giving them tools to feel more connected. That's the first one. The second one is the teachers. Going back to what Faye was talking about earlier, they just need to experience the technology in a safe environment. And so my goal is to work with my principal and take the next look at learning day or the next staff development day and say, okay, what's the one tool we're going to be using this during this staff meeting? And just have all teachers use it, whether it be Chatsky. If we have the staff meeting, everyone brings their laptop in, let's just do Chatsky. But it's just doing it in a safe environment where people can mess up and it's not a big deal. So those are my two.